of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors. It's time to take a few moments from your busy day, unwind, and be inspired as you listen to the insights of empowerment psychic Halley Elise, a top 100 psychic, speaker, and author. Be sure to contact Halley Elise at halleyelise.com. And now, The Halley Elise Show.
Hello, everyone. Hope you've had a good week so far. I know it just started yesterday. I've been nonstop running. Matter of fact, if I sound a little out of breath, I was running here to get to the station today. It's been constantly one thing after another, but good stuff. And I'm grateful for that. Matter of fact, I wanted to talk with all of you today about something that I've been speaking about a lot, and that is your own innate abilities. I've done 3 different presentations in the last week and a half in different groups and in different ways. Some of the timing has been as long as 45 minutes. Other timing has been as short as 15. I've had the opportunity to share things that you probably already know, but perhaps you don't pay attention to that you might want to, especially if you're in business or if you're venturing towards having a business. And that is, all of you have abilities. Whether you recognize that there is an intuitive knowing or not, it's there. And I'll give you an example. I could truly say, without a doubt, that everybody on the face of the planet at some point in their life will recognize that they knew something with no prior knowledge, that they just, with absolute certainty, knew that something was going to happen, or it was the right time to do something, or that they should be in a particular place. They just knew it. That's called claircognizance, and that knowing is something that in business can really help you. Another thing would be clairsentience, and we've talked about that a little bit before on the show, where it's that sensation, that feeling that comes up. And you may have heard me on occasion talk with callers or even guests that are in the station about the body having a certain response or behaving a certain way to let you know things. A lot of people will say, well, my elbow on the left side hurts because at one point I smacked it, and ever since then, before it rains, it hurts and it lets me know that it's going to rain. But it's more than that. If, for instance, you have a body ache somewhere and you're wondering what on earth is going on, it is the body's way of letting you know there is something you need to pay attention to. I'll give you an example. Things that have to do with the hips, the knees, the ankles, that has to do with your movement, moving forward, moving backward. If every time you go to take a step forward, and I'm talking about a physical, a literal step, not an imaginary, but an actual step, and your knee hurts, you may want to take a look at that. Yes, could there be a physical association? Could there be a physical ill? Of course, because again, the body lets us know what's going on. By the same token, if there is a physical manifestation of something, there's usually something else going on that there's a corollary to. And again, if we're talking about moving forward, give an example. Perhaps you were looking to make a change in your job and you've been debating over, should I leave this job? Shouldn't I leave this job? And let's say you're male and your left knee hurts. Left side typically represents feminine, right side typically represents masculine. Let's take it a step further. Let's say you're male and you are living with somebody, your girlfriend, and we shall say that you really need your income along with your partner's income to make sure that everything's copacetic. And there's some fear about moving forward, even if you despise where you're at as far as business. But there is fear because if you make a change, what happens if it doesn't work? What happens if all of a sudden your income is not accessible, or it's not the same level, or you start something new and the bottom falls out? That would be associated to that left side, the female that you're concerned about, looking to support one another. It would also be associated to that movement forward. So there is something to be said about listening to our bodies. There is the clear cognizance that I mentioned, and clear sentience. The cognizance is that knowing without knowing how you know. There's no predetermined material. There's not something somebody said to you or you saw. You know it. You know it to be true. And then there is the clairsentience, which is that feeling. And clairsentience is not limited to, oh, my nose aches. often it is more a sensation. And I'll give you an example. When I was a kid, I had an awful feeling, just an awful feeling about my mom going next door to the neighbor. I couldn't identify it then. I think I was 10, 11, something like that. But I just had this pit in my stomach when Mom mentioned about going next door to the neighbor. And we're talking about literally next door. But there was this awful, awful feeling. And again, couldn't identify it. But that's clairsentience. The end result, Mom went next door, and within 5 minutes, my little brother got very sick out of nowhere. He was perfectly fine all day prior. He was perfectly fine all week prior. I mean, it came out of nowhere. But there was that feeling, and I even expressed it. I don't think you should go. I don't want you to go. And of course, as a parent would do, but I'm looking around. Everything is fine, honey. Why would that be an issue? I'm right next door. You can come out the door and yell. I hear you. Knock on the wall. I hear you. Call, what have you. I hear you. And yet there was that level of discomfort that I really thought, I can't be alone in the house. I can't be alone with my brother. It just didn't feel right. Thankfully, it was only 5 minutes later, so that feeling passed. But that feeling passed as soon as my brother began to get sick. There was an association there that I could recognize. I could recognize that discomfort showed up because there was a reason for it. It wasn't just a matter of me being uncomfortable. It wasn't just a matter of I felt funny. You could say that was a pre-knowing, but that really wasn't clairvoyance, meaning there were no pictures or images in my head of seeing what was to come. It was just that pit in my stomach. And I think to emphasize this so this makes sense, my brother wasn't only unwell, we had to take him to the hospital. It was that severe. If you have something that pops up and you're thinking, what is this about? Check in with yourself. Ask yourself, what am I feeling? Why do I feel this way? And if you're not getting a clear answer, take it out of the intellectual and go to emotion. Is there something that I'm sensing? Is there something that I'm feeling? Is there something beyond this moment? Is there something that is connected to another person? Just allow yourself to be open to whatever comes to you, whatever sensation, awareness, knowing. And if you're not able to identify, but you realize that every time, we'll say someone is passing, it could be a great aunt who's 99 years old, lived a great life. I'm not thinking in terms of somebody young and oh my gosh, but just so that you have a reference point. If every time somebody that you care for is passing, all of a sudden you feel a little nausea, or you feel that you're off kilter, or your stomach is upset, and you recognize, wow, when Aunt so-and-so passed, and then Uncle so-and-so passed, and oh, wait, that dear little neighbor down the street who is 101, it was interesting that day too, I had that feeling. Then you realize there's an association. It's your body. It's that clairsentience letting you know there's something going on that you can pay attention to, and that you actually know what the answer is. You may not want to know all the time. There are moments where things come to us and we're thinking, oh, just got to stop. I don't want to know this. But as I was sharing with one of the groups that I was with the other day, who said, well, why is it only bad stuff comes in? It is not that only bad stuff comes in. It is that we tend to ignore the good things. It's sad, but it's true. If, for instance, okay, I'll give a silly little example. Your palm gets itchy and somebody surprises and takes you out for dinner. You may not make the association. You may think, oh, that's interesting. My palm was itchy. We went for dinner and my friend treated me and that wasn't that nice. But perhaps it happens all the time. Still, in most probability, unless it's so frequent that it's right in front of you, you won't notice. But when it's something that's big, when it's something that has a major impact on us, we tend to pay attention to it. What if you start noticing little things? And if I come and bring that full circle, what if you apply those little things to business? If you know that every time your palm is itchy, somebody's going to do something nice for you and you're on your way to work, then you can make that association that when your palm is itchy, somebody connected to work is going to do something nice. Then start to see how it unfolds so that you can have more clarity. And you can even affirm to yourself, I'm open to knowing this. I'm open to seeing the results of these sensations and what they bring forth. Something to think about. We have a caller on the line. Lisa, hello.
Hi, Halley.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
Good, thank you. Did you have a specific question today?
Relationship and a yoga program that I've signed up for. It's 13 weeks and it starts Saturday. Just if you had any guidance on either one.
Okay, I'm going to go to the yoga program first. It's interesting because I get a very mixed feel about this program with you. On one hand, I feel like intellectually you've talked yourself into knowing this is the thing that you should be doing. And yet it feels to me as if emotionally you're not 100% committed. It's like you want to be, but there is that sense of hesitancy or resistance. And I'm going to say, be okay with it, because what I'm getting is after the first 3, maybe 4 weeks, you're going to find that you're really happy that you've done this. It feels to me it's more of a settling in. It almost reminds me of when you move to a new house, how at first there's that unpacking and there's the organizing and figuring out where everything is. It has a very similar feel. And I know that sounds funny to say about a yoga program, but it really does have that same sort of feel of perhaps being a little bit disoriented or out of your environment at this locale for the first 3-4 times. After that, it feels as if it's old home week. Oh, I'm very happy to be here. I'm very comfortable. There's a symbiosis that takes place with some of the people that are around you. So there really is a very pleasant feel attached to it. So that
Yeah, I live in Boca and the class is in Fort Lauderdale. It's to be a certified yoga instructor.
Yeah.
Which I've been wanting to do for many years now, and I finally am able to do it because it's only on Saturdays and I already have a full-time job.
Right. So, like I said, keep in mind that any sort of, should I, shouldn't I, but I've already committed to it, it's okay. It's better than okay, because once you feel settled, I'm telling you, you are going to be so happy that you were there. And I feel as if the connections that you make in this program are not just about friendships, but also are going to open a door to go in a different direction with work if you want to, I'm going to say approximately 6 to 8 months down the line.
Right, that's my goal. Thank you.
Okay, so you just got confirmation there. You're headed in that right direction. So deep breaths, even though you're dealing with traffic, even though it's like, oh my gosh, it's not around the corner. All of that is extraneous, and it's going to melt away because you're going to find that you really feel fed by this and more than just the learning. You'll see there are people that you connect with that it's like, yes, this is heart connection. This is where I need to be. As far as relationship-wise, we're in, what are we in? We're in August, yes? September, October, November. I get roughly 3 months of change here. And it's funny because it almost feels as if as you get stronger with the direction of where you're headed for you personally with your business, with your finances, with, we'll say, that new phase of life. And it's not that you're that old, so I don't want you to think I'm inferring that. But it's that reinventing, I'll say. As you get more comfortable, and it's going to be like roughly 3 months where you're going to feel better than you have in a long time, not just physically, but emotionally. That's when there is a change as far as relationship status. That's when, if you will, the door starts opening up for the things that you want versus just allowing things to be there because it's comfortable. You follow?
Yeah.
So I want to say a little bit of patience with yourself, be a little bit more gentle with yourself. All that you're headed towards, all that you've been aspiring to is going to come to fruition. It's just you're looking at a couple of different timetables, that's all. And if you can have that patience and just keep headed forward, there is no problem, truly. And even when you go to leave the job that you're associated to now, at that point, you're going to be so confident. It's going to be walking in with a big smile to say, okay, just letting you know.
I'm giving my 2 weeks.
That's it. And I'm telling you, I just get a big smile like you're so happy about doing this.
Yeah. I've been trying to get out for a while, but I can't. I got bills to pay. You know?
Right. And again, I get roughly 6 to 8 months before you can make that transition. But when you do, it's going to be like, oh, okay, the timing is right. Yay. And at that point, too, it's not going to be, I'm worried about how do I take care of things. It's that confidence of I am taking care. So it's coming. Right. Just patience. And like I said, relationship-wise, you have to kind of be grounded within yourself a little bit more. And that's going to take the next 3 months here so that you kind of remind yourself.
To meet someone new, possibly.
I feel like it's more definitive than possibly. Because my sense here is the person that's around you is a lovely being, but I don't feel like, how can I put this? You know the old saying about for a reason, for a season, for a lifetime?
Absolutely.
Okay, this is not the latter of it, the lifetime. This is reason and season.
Yes.
But
And he will go away on his own?
Well, what I feel like is going to happen is you're going to have a conversation that recognizes both of you are in different places as far as, and I'm going to use that word aspiration again, about your aspirations in your life. And that's going to make the difference. But I feel like when you do part, it's going to be peaceful. There's not going to be chaos attached to it. There's not going to be...
He's not going to be chasing me and texting me.
No, it's more a matter of, I want you to do what's going to make you happy. I don't like it, but I understand it, type of thing.
Okay.
All right,
good.
My friend.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. Have a great week.
You as well. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, we do have another caller, and I will pick up that line as soon as we return from a break. We'll be right back. Thank you. This is your empowerment psychic, Halley, Elise, one of the top 100 psychics in America. For over 30 years, I have offered psychic readings, programs, spiritual guidance, and other life skill techniques. As our lives have become more complicated, we often reach for answers. Who are we? Where are we headed? Are we pointed in the right direction? In addition, we often are concerned for our loved ones. I have helped thousands of people navigate their life circumstances through different modalities of spiritual and intuitive guidance. Call me at 561-755-2166 and allow me to further explain how I may assist you in clearing the path of yesterday so today and tomorrow will be a success. Call me at 561-755-2166 or visit my site, HalleyElise.com. That's HalleyElise.com.
You have been listening to a Top 100 Psychic, Halley Elise, your connection to all things spiritual, psychic, and empowering. For a private session, call 561-755-2166. Now, back to the Halley Elise Show and your empowerment psychic, Halley Elise.
Hello and welcome back. If you're just joining in, I started today's show talking about the fact that everybody has intuitive ability and about the fact that there's that clear cognizance, that knowing without knowing how you know something that shows up in our world. And what I wanted to really, really suggest, and it's a suggestion because you have to be comfortable. If you don't want to do it, don't do it. But I do want to strongly suggest that if you'd like to build on that clear cognizance, that knowing, every time you get that awareness that something's going to take place and you're proven correct in your head, do the little happy dance, do the little celebration, allow yourself to really make note of, wow, I knew that. Wow, that came in on its own. Wow, what a great tool to have, especially in my business. The more you celebrate it, the more you acknowledge it, the more your mind accepts that it is true, the more your subconscious mind looks for other things that it can give you confirmation on. And on a spiritual end, you're opening that part of yourself that already exists. Think of it in terms of it's a skill that is a house, and the door at the moment perhaps is shut. You're opening it, or perhaps you leave it just slightly ajar so that you get a feel of it, that you get a wind of what's taking place or what's to come. But I promise you, the more that you celebrate it, the more it will happen. And the same is true with that clairsentience. If that's a natural gift that shows up for you, some people have it, some don't, pay attention. Allow yourself to say, oh, wow, I felt that. Yes, every time so-and-so happens, my nose itches or my hand itches or my right elbow feels funny or I have a tingling on the top of my head. It shows up in different ways for different people. Just because I sense something in a particular way doesn't mean that's applicable for you. You have to allow yourself to acknowledge how things show up for you. But these tools are amazing for business. If we had much more time, we could go into all sorts of techniques, and we could go into a myriad of ways that you could expand. In the interim, I'm going to make an offer, which I normally don't do, but I'm just kind of in one of those moods to give things away. I have a booklet out that actually helps you on de-stressing, centering, and opening up to your own gifts. It's a little booklet, but I will be happy to email it to you if you contact me. Whether you contact me on the back end of Facebook or you send me an email to info@halleyelise.com. Whatever way you choose to get in touch, and honestly, if you look on the web, there's only like 20 pages where there's contact information in one way or another. If you just get on and say, hey, I heard you say on the phone you have a booklet that can help me enhance my gifts, I'm interested, I will be happy to send it to you at no cost and no future commitment for anything. But just, like I said, it's kind of one of those moods, I guess, because this time of the year starts a lot of activity for me with birthdays and with celebrations and holidays and anniversaries. Actually, it started last month at the beginning. Well, no, wait, we're still in August. I'm thinking we're in September. I'm pushing my time here. But at the beginning of this month, my child's birthday, a couple of dear friends' birthdays, one of my dear friends' child's birthdays, a lot of nice things happening, celebrations as far as wedding anniversaries, and then September is very full of birthdays and anniversaries and all sorts of celebrations. I like to give gifts. So once again, if you have an interest in receiving a booklet that will tell you about how to create stress relievers, how to get more centered, be more calm, just overall, and how to connect with your own intuitive knowing, your own intuitive abilities, I am happy to send that to you. Just send me a little email or, as I said, connect with me online in some capacity. And you do want to let me know that you heard it here on the Halley Elise Show, because otherwise you won't get anything. I want to give this to the folks that are listening in or that are watching. And if you are in your vehicle and you're thinking, oh man, I got to get out, I have to go do, you can watch the show on WNN, which is wwnnradio.com. Or if you're on Facebook, you can go to AMP Squared, which is AMP2, TV Productions, or even on my page, The Halley Elise Show. And there are multiple other places, but that's all I'm going to share right now because we don't want to spend all day just talking about where you can see the show. Just remember, if you would like a copy of the booklet, do reach out, and I'm happy to send it to you as soon as a moment permits. And in the meantime, I believe we have Anna on the line. Hi, Anna. How are you?
Hello, dear. How are you?
I'm good. What can I help you with today?
Yes, like everyone, love and career. You see something in my career this year, something better.
Okay. You know, it's really funny because I hear something better, and then in my head I hear, oh, for 5 years, something better. It feels like this has been an ongoing process for you. And yes. I'm going to say something that may sound a little peculiar, but I really feel like it has a lot to do with you not having enough confidence in yourself. My sense here is you work because, and a lot of people do this, so don't think I'm picking on you, but you work because you have to work to pay bills, to take care of your responsibilities. And again, that's the way most of us exist here in the States. But I don't feel like you're working because of your heart, meaning your heart wants to be happier. You should be looking at the work that you're doing and understanding that, okay, I'm grateful that I have what I have in this moment and it could be better. But how is my heart really going to be happier with this? And start giving some attention to that. If you do, you'll find that things start to turn for you in like 2 months. But wow. If you continue this cycle that you've been doing, and again, it feels like 5 years, it could be a little longer, but roughly 5 years of, all right, doing something, making money, not necessarily being happy, making a slight change. Okay, it's good for a while, but then it kind of goes back to that feeling of not really being complete, not really feeling fulfilled. I really get the sense that it's important for you to start looking in terms of if money, okay, here's the question that you can ask yourself to help this process. If money wasn't a consideration, what would I be doing? Really touch in with that, because if you do, then you will find little doorways within the work to circumvent how you're feeling, to make it grow and in turn create more money. And again, I get you have the ability to manifest very quickly within 2 months. If you can wrap your head around what I'm saying, you will see a change that quickly.
Yes, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Okay, beautiful. Now, as far as relationship, you always have a lot of people around you interested, but you get bored. You get bored easy. And here too, I just think you have to have a little bit more clarity about, it's funny because I come back to the heart, and my thinking truly is, whenever possible, allow yourself to connect what is going to make your heart happiest, not what you think is going to look good in the public, not what's going to look good for the moment, not how it serves you right now, but think, all right, I'm trying to put this into words versus feeling. The overall impression with your world in general is that you're about function. You're about making things happen, and yet it feels like there is this deeper part of you that so wants to be that lady that is treated on top of the pedestal, the princess. Not as far as being snobby, I don't mean that, but I mean as far as really being honored and nurtured and loved and appreciated. Not all women feel that way, because a lot of people could be listening going, oh, such a general thing, everybody feels that way. But it's not true. A lot of women go, oh, I can do that for myself, leave me alone. I don't get that with you. I feel like that desire to be, again, I'm going to say treated like a princess is important, yet you're not making it